what's going on? My name is Henry, and this is Breakable Program, and today we're going to talk about the PUBG and LawBreakers connection, Paladins introducing a Battle Royale mode, and this year's Overwatch content. On November 10th last year, Nexon held a conference call regarding their earnings. Seems like some pretty boring stuff, but when they started discussing their earnings, they mentioned that Q3 of that year, they had significant losses due to the underperformance of LawBreakers. That in itself is not a big surprise. Everyone knows that LawBreakers did extremely poorly and was a liability for anyone that invested money into it, such as Nexon. But they did say something that caught me off guard. We had a very high expectation of its launch. However, the timing of its launch turned out to be unfortunate. Specifically, the blockbuster PC online game PlayerUnknown's Battleground came out right about the same time, making the market environment very tough for first-person shooters in general and for LawBreakers. Something that struck me as odd was the fact that they mentioned PUBG as being a major source for its failure. So I decided to take a look at their player counts individually, and I noticed that PUBG has had its most significant growth in September and October. This is weeks after the initial release of LawBreakers, and if we take a look at the same months for LawBreakers, this does match up with the growth of PUBG and loss of LawBreakers player count, but correlation doesn't mean causation. LawBreakers had a very low initial player count, and at the time PUBG wasn't even over 1 million players in peak player count, let alone average player count. Not to mention that in the quote they specifically mentioned that the market environment was the issue, not the amount of players actually playing. But PUBG only recently got released and started really pushing marketing in the past couple of weeks, so that doesn't really make sense. If you're going to be blaming the market environment, wouldn't it be more logical to blame it on the release of games like Destiny 2 or World War II, since that was a prime time for player count for those games? It's an odd choice to single out PUBG when the release window was cluttered with so many more games in the first-person shooter genre. PUBG, as most people know, is not a first-person shooter game. It's not even the same genre as LawBreakers, a hero shooter that is more akin to games like Overwatch. One last thing before we move on, Shiro Yumura, the representative director and CFO of Nexon, said, regarding impairment loss of LawBreakers, this is everything, so we will not be incurring any other impairment loss pertaining to LawBreakers in the future. Basically saying, however they were supporting the game, they will no longer be supporting it in the future. Paladins is introducing a Battle Royale mode to their game. If you're not a fan of PUBG because it's too realistic or hard to grasp, there is always Fortnite, which has a similar style to Paladins and add a bunch of mechanics that make the game easier than PUBG. Why Paladins would think that introducing a Battle Royale mode is beyond me. They did mention some benefits, saying that it will be the first ever hero shooter Battle Royale game and that it was designed from the ground up to be played in teams. Players must work together to survive in Paladins Battleground. That's the most confusing and dishonest mess I've heard. Paladins is a first-person hero shooter that focuses on objective-based activities. You can't design from the ground up when you already have your feet planted in an entirely different genre of game. That's like building a cruise ship and then giving it to an Arctic explorer and handing them a coat and saying it was built from the ground up just for you. Any student game designer can tell you that the reason that objective-based hero shooters work is due in part to the heroes, sure, but the maps that you play on are a huge component to making the game work. And if you have a poorly constructed map, like if there aren't enough routes to attack, or it's too enclosed, or if it's too big, it just won't work. And it seems like Hi-Rez, the studio behind Paladins, was complicitly ignorant to this, and they just wanted to capitalize on the success of games like PUBG and steal its idea of putting no effort into actually making the game mode work. Speaking of hero shooters, Overwatch released a developer update talking about their upcoming content for 2018. So let's just quickly go over them if you haven't seen the video. Overwatch League skins are coming soon. If you log into Overwatch, you can already see some on the main menu. Blizzard World Map is releasing soon. They're currently in the works of Hero 27, which they said is, quote, needed. No release date for that yet. They plan on making more maps. They wanted to work more on competitive mode. They are working on more recall storylines in which you see different Overwatch characters react to the recall that Winston gave out. This is going to be told through shorts and comics. This Lunar New Year will be the year of the dog, not the year of the rooster like last year. The Uprising event is coming back, but they're going to evolve it somehow. I'm not sure what that means, but if they're just going to bring back basically the same event again like they did with Junkenstein, it's not going to go well. Another anniversary event is coming, and they are also adding non-event specific skins and unlocks that you can unlock in the basic loot boxes. And that's it for today's video. If you want to leave a comment, give this a thumbs up, and if you like the video, leave a comment below. Don't forget to show this to your mother and thank her for watching. It's fucking stupid.